Story 1 of 30. 3 Australian WNBA players selected in WNBA expansion draft for new teams. 3 Australian WNBA players selected in WNBA expansion draft for new teams. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nyadu Puok was selected by the Portland Fire in the WNBA expansion draft as the 16th overall pick. Chloe Bibby was selected by the Portland Fire as the 11th overall pick in the expansion draft. Christy Wallace was selected by the Toronto Tempo as the 21st overall pick, ABC, or 23rd overall pick, Guardian. The WNBA expansion draft occurred ahead of the 2025 season opener on May 8th. The WNBA draft to complete rosters will be held on April 13, 2025. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports Christy Wallace was picked 21st by the Toronto Tempo, but The Guardian reports she was picked 23rd. No contradictions in other factual details between sources. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 2 of 30. Australian SAS veteran Ben Roberts-Smith's arrest and war crimes prosecution. Australian SAS veteran Ben Roberts-Smith's arrest and war crimes prosecution. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Ben Roberts-Smith was arrested in Sydney on Tuesday the 23rd of October, 2024, and charged with 5 counts of war crime, murder relating to alleged offences in Afghanistan between April 2009 and October 2012. Roberts-Smith is Australia's most decorated living soldier, having received the Victoria Cross for his service. The Australian Federal Police, AFP, are prosecuting Roberts-Smith under criminal law, requiring proof beyond reasonable doubt, higher standard than the civil defamation case previously dismissed. Gina Rinehart, Australia's richest person, publicly stated she does not understand the prosecution and criticised the $300+ million spent on investigating SAS veterans for alleged war crimes. Roberts-Smith has hired new lawyers, including Karen Espiner, former federal attorney general, to defend the criminal charges. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and The Age both report Roberts-Smith was arrested on Tuesday, but The Age specifies the 23rd of October, 2024, while The Guardian does not provide a date. The Guardian and The Age agree Roberts-Smith was charged with 5 counts of war crime murder, but The Age does not specify the exact legal wording used by the AFP. The Guardian highlights support from prominent Christian nationalists and other right-wing groups, while The Age focuses more on political figures like Abbott and Hanson without emphasizing religious affiliation. This story was covered by The Guardian, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 3 of 30. Australian literacy program uses dogs to help children read aloud with confidence. Australian literacy program uses dogs to help children read aloud with confidence. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Tashi is a 10-year-old miniature poodle involved in the Story Dogs literacy program in Australia. Story Dogs operates with 389 dogs across Australia, excluding Northern Territory, as of the article's publication. The program was co-founded by Janine Sigley and Leah Sheldon in regional New South Wales in 2009. Story Dogs is modelled on a similar US program using dogs as education assistance animals. The program helps primary school students gain confidence and ability to read aloud, particularly those with anxiety, ADHD, or learning difficulties. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states there are 389 dogs in the Story Dogs program, while Article 2 states there are 388 dogs. Article 1 does not mention the NAPLAN results showing 4 in 10 students perform below expectations in grammar punctuation, which Article 2 includes. Article 1 does not reference the specific book Pig the Grub or the dialogue about hygiene between Harlow and Sue Borgner, which Article 2 details. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 4 of 30. Missing man swept away in floodwaters near Innamincka, SA. Search ends in tragedy. Missing man swept away in floodwaters near Innamincka, SA. Search ends in tragedy. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Tony Aspden, a 65-year-old man, was last seen on April 4, Easter Saturday, around midday near Innamincka, South Australia, crossing the closed Cordillo Downs Road on foot when he was swept into floodwaters. Innamincka is approximately 820 kilometers north of Adelaide and 25 kilometers from the Queensland border, ABC, 1,065 kilometers by road, Newskamau, 820 kilometers north, 25 kilometers from border. A land, air, and water search involving SAAS helicopter, Paul Air, South Australia Police, SES, family, residents, and volunteers was conducted for Tony Aspden. Tony Aspden was described as Caucasian, about 156 centimeters tall, with a slim build, blonde hair with a rat's tail, and was last seen wearing a red hat, black short-sleeved top, and dark pants. Tony Aspden's body was recovered on Monday, April 7, with no suspicious circumstances surrounding his death. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports the search was ongoing as of April 4, while Newskamau states the search ended in tragedy on April 7. ABC states Innamincka is approximately 1,065 kilometers by road from Adelaide, while Newskamau states it is about 820 kilometers north of Adelaide. ABC does not mention the exact time of Tony Aspden's body recovery, while Newskamau specifies it was at 10:30 a.m. on Monday, April 7. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 5 of 30. Australians celebrate Good Friday with religious, cultural, and commercial traditions across the country. Australians celebrate Good Friday with religious, cultural, and commercial traditions across the country. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Good Friday services were held at St Patrick's Cathedral in Sydney and St Mary's Cathedral in Sydney's CBD, including the stations of the cross procession. Sydney fish markets saw large crowds purchasing seafood for Good Friday lunches, with queues forming as early as 5 a.m. The Sydney fish markets opened at 7 a.m. with about 650 tons of seafood available for sale. The Brisbane to Gladstone yacht race began on Good Friday, with 29 boats participating. Church services across Australia emphasised themes of hope, renewal, and divine light during Good Friday. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports the Sydney Fish Market's new site opened 2 months prior, January, and expected 60,000 visitors, while Newskamau states it is the first Easter there and could be the busiest trading day in history without specifying visitor numbers. ABC mentions the Brisbane to Gladstone yacht race started at 11 a.m. in rainy conditions, but Newskamau does not provide a start time or weather details. ABC states the Sydney Fish Market opened at 7 a.m. with 650 tons of seafood, while Newskamau does not specify the opening time or quantity of seafood. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 6 of 30. Rapper Offset shot outside Florida casino in 2024 incident. Rapper Offset shot outside Florida casino in 2024 incident. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Offset, Kiari Kendall Cephas, was shot outside the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida on Monday. He is in a stable condition and being closely monitored in hospital according to his spokesperson. 2 people were detained by Seminole police following the shooting. The Seminole Police Department stated the site remains secure with no public threat and operations continue as normal. Offset was formerly married to Cardi B, with whom he has 3 children. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian specifies the shooting occurred at a valet area outside the casino, but ABC does not mention this detail. The Guardian includes specific Migos achievements and collaborations, while ABC omits these details. The Guardian references the Associated Press as a contributing source, but ABC does not mention this. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 7 of 30. Affordable flight options to Europe in 2026 amid Middle East instability. Affordable flight options to Europe in 2026 amid Middle East instability. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A business-class return flight from Melbourne to London with Etihad in mid-April to early May costs $4,881, nearly $2,000 cheaper than Emirates Premium Economy for the same route and dates. Economy class fares to Europe via Asia-based carriers, e.g., Air China, Malaysia Airlines, Qantas, Turkish Airlines, are comparable to 2025 prices, with examples like Melbourne-London from $1,295, Air China, or Sydney-Paris from $2,167, Malaysia Airlines. Return business class fares with Qantas, Singapore Airlines, Japan Airlines, ANA, or Turkish Airlines start at $12,000 for any time in the next 6 months. China-based carriers and Vietnam Airlines offer sub-$10,000 return business class fares to Europe. Flights via the US, e.g., American Airlines, United, are safer but more expensive, with return economy fares from Melbourne-Sydney to London starting at $2,600 in May and $4,000 in July. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources as they contain identical text. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 8 of 30. Trump appoints JD Vance as fraud czar and targets Democratic states for alleged fraud crackdowns. Trump appoints JD Vance as fraud czar and targets Democratic states for alleged fraud crackdowns. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump announced JD Vance as the new fraud czar on April 2, 2024, via Truth Social post. 8 people were arrested in California on April 4, 2024, for allegedly committing over $50 million in Medicare healthcare fraud. The arrests were part of Operation Never Say Die, targeting sham hospice care facilities in Southern California. The accused included healthcare professionals like nurses and a psychologist who allegedly used non-terminal patients as Medicare beneficiaries. The U.S. Department of Justice stated the arrests were tied to sham hospice care facilities in Southern California. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Trump's DOJ is crippling fraud prosecutions in Minnesota, while Walls claims Trump's DOJ is gutting the U.S. Attorney's Office, same meaning but framed differently. Article 1 claims Trump's fraud allegations are without evidence, but Vance's role is framed as a major factor in balancing the budget, no evidence provided. Article 1 cites $50 million in healthcare fraud arrests, but no second source confirms the exact dollar amount or specific names of the accused beyond nurses and a psychologist. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 9 of 30. 2 NSW teenagers arrested over alleged extremist material and terror probe in Moree. 2 NSW teenagers arrested over alleged extremist material and terror probe in Moree. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 2 teenagers, aged 15 and 16, from Moree in northern NSW, were charged with possessing violent extremist material. The investigation began in December 2024 when New England police received information a teenager was allegedly accessing extremist material online. On the 27th of March, 2024, police searched a home and seized a mobile phone, a ballistic-style vest, and several notebooks from the 15-year-old boy. The 15-year-old was charged at the time with possession of alleged extremist material. Following forensic analysis, NSW Joint Counter-Terrorism Team conducted further raids on 2 Moree homes on the 28th of March, 2024, seizing handwritten notes and extremist literature. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states the 15-year-old was charged at the time of the first search, the 27th of March, with possession of alleged extremist material, but Newscom Australia does not specify this exact timing for the initial charge. The Guardian mentions the raids occurred on Thursday, the 28th of March, while Newscom Australia does not specify the exact day of the raids beyond late in March. The Guardian notes the charges were confirmed by a joint statement from Australian Federal Police and NSW Police on Friday morning, which Newscom Australia does not mention. This story was covered by The Guardian and news.com.au. Story 10 of 30. Barry Jones reflections on his career, political critiques, and personal recovery at 93. Barry Jones reflections on his career, political critiques, and personal recovery at 93. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Barry Jones is 93 years old and has an eye on the exit ramp while focusing on what remains undone in his life and career. Jones suffered a ridiculous fall in September 2023 while eating breakfast in Melbourne, resulting in a 3-point landing, head, right buttock, base of spine, and 40 days in hospital. Jones described his leg as having done an optus, lost communication, after the fall, leaving him unable to walk and hospitalized for 40 days. Jones met Vladimir Putin in 1990 in St. Petersburg, initially dismissing him as a colorless figure before recognizing his future significance. Jones has known or met every Australian Prime Minister since Robert Menzies' first term in 1939, give or take a few. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. The articles are nearly identical in content and reporting. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 12 of 30. US President Trump mocks French President Macron's marriage during White House speech on Iran war. US President Trump mocks French President Macron's marriage during White House speech on Iran war. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump made remarks at a White House Easter function on the 16th of April, 2025 mocking Emmanuel Macron's marriage, claiming Brigitte Macron treats him extremely badly and he was still recovering from a right to the jaw from her. Trump's comments were made during a speech about the US-led war with Iran, where he sought French support for airstrikes in the Gulf. Macron responded on the 17th of April, 2025 in South Korea, calling Trump's remarks neither elegant nor up to standard and stating they do not deserve a reply. A viral video from May 2024 showed Brigitte Macron shoving Macron's face as they disembarked from a plane in Vietnam, which Trump referenced in his remarks. Manuel Bompard, left-wing leader, declared Trump's comments about Brigitte Macron absolutely unacceptable. But not all outlets told the same story. The Age and Guardian both report Trump's remarks were made at a White House Easter function on the 16th of April, 2025, but only Guardian specifies Trump mimicked a French accent during the speech. The Age and Guardian both cite Macron's denial of a domestic dispute in May 2024, but only Guardian clarifies Macron said they were joking as we often do. The Age mentions Trump's tariff threat against Spain but does not specify the exact wording or context beyond would not back the US in the war. This story was covered by The Guardian, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 13 of 30. Human bones discovered during construction on Rottnest Island trigger police investigation. Human bones discovered during construction on Rottnest Island trigger police investigation. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Human bones were found on Rottnest Island during construction work at Holy Trinity Church on Wednesday morning. Police are investigating the origin of the bones and will conduct forensic assessments to determine their age. Rottnest Island operated as a brutal Aboriginal prison and forced labor camp from 1838 to 1931. Approximately 3,700 Aboriginal men and boys were imprisoned on Rottnest Island during this period. The island is located 19 kilometers off the coast from Fremantle, Western Australia. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC mentions the bones were found during construction of a new accessible ramp entrance for the Catholic Church, while Newscomau does not specify this detail. ABC states the island measures 11 kilometers long by 4.5 kilometers wide, but Newscomau does not provide these dimensions. ABC provides more historical context about the brutal living conditions and the forgotten Aboriginal burial ground, while Newscomau only briefly mentions the prison and forced labor camp. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 14 of 30. US-Iran ceasefire deal and its regional implications after Trump's ultimatum. US-Iran ceasefire deal and its regional implications after Trump's ultimatum. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump announced a 2-week provisional ceasefire with Iran on April 9, 2026, suspending US attacks on Iran in exchange for the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz by Iran, with the deal mediated by Pakistan. The ceasefire deadline was set for 8 p.m. Eastern Time, April 9, after which Trump threatened to bomb Iran's power plants and bridges, a move legal scholars warned could constitute war crimes. Iran's Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, confirmed Iran would allow passage through the Strait of Hormuz for 2 weeks under Iranian military management, with the agreement conditional on halting attacks against Iran. Pakistan's Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, announced the ceasefire would extend to Lebanon, including a halt to fighting between Israel and Hezbollah, though Israel later clarified the ceasefire did not cover Lebanon. Talks between the US and Iran were scheduled to begin on April 10, 2026, in Islamabad, Pakistan, based on Iran's 10-point proposal, which included controlled transit through the Strait of Hormuz and lifting of sanctions. But not all outlets told the same story. Guardian Article 2 states Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said the ceasefire covered Lebanon, but Guardian Article 4 and ABC confirm Israel's office explicitly stated the ceasefire did not include Lebanon. Guardian Article 2 reports Iran released 2 versions of its 10-point plan, one in Farsi including acceptance of enrichment, and another in English without it, but Guardian Article 4 and ABC do not mention this discrepancy in their summaries of the plan. Guardian Article 1 claims former MAGA allies like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Candace Owens denounced Trump's threats as evil and madness, but ABC and Guardian Article 2 do not reference these specific figures in their accounts of MAGA critics. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 15 of 30. U.S. Supreme Court hearing on birthright citizenship challenge by Trump administration. U.S. Supreme Court hearing on birthright citizenship challenge by Trump administration. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments on March 20, 2024, regarding Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship for children of undocumented immigrants. Donald Trump attended the oral arguments as the first sitting president to do so, sitting in the public gallery. The 14th Amendment's Citizenship Clause states, "All persons born or naturalized in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the U.S." The Trump administration argues the phrase "subject to the jurisdiction thereof" excludes children of undocumented immigrants, relying on the concept of domicile as a permanent residence. The Migration Policy Institute estimated Trump's policy would increase the unauthorized immigrant population by 2.7 million by 2045 and 5.4 million by 2075, based on 255,000 affected births annually. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states the Migration Policy Institute's estimate of 255,000 affected births annually, while Article 2 does not mention this specific number but refers to 250,000 babies born in the United States each year, a slight discrepancy. Article 1 explicitly mentions Trump's executive order was issued on his first day in office, January 2017, while Article 2 does not specify the exact date but frames it as part of his broader immigration agenda without this precise detail. Article 1 cites 2 legal scholars from the New York Times 2023, suggesting Trump's case is stronger than critics realize, while Article 2 does not reference this specific quote or source. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 16 of 30. Australia's fuel supply crisis amid Middle East conflict and rising demand. Australia's fuel supply crisis amid Middle East conflict and rising demand. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Energy Minister Chris Bowen confirmed Australia's fuel shipments secured well into May, ABC, Newscomau, Guardian, ABC. As of Easter weekend, 39 days of petrol, 29 days of diesel, and 30 days of jet fuel remain in Australia's reserves, ABC, Guardian, ABC. Over 50 fuel ships were en route to Australia from refineries in Asia, the US, and Mexico, ABC, Newscomau, Guardian. New South Wales had the highest number of service stations out of diesel, with figures fluctuating between 145 to 182 stations, Newscomau, Guardian, ABC. The government replaced 6 cancelled fuel shipments due to the Middle East conflict, Newscomau, ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1, ABC, states 274 service stations were out of diesel, while Article 3, Guardian, reports 312 stations out of diesel as of Easter weekend. Article 2, Newscomau, claims 182 NSW stations were out of fuel on Good Friday, but Article 5, Newscomau, says 182 stations were out of diesel on Friday, not total fuel. Article 1, ABC, says 400+ stations were out of diesel on Good Friday, while Article 3, Guardian, states 312 stations were out of diesel as of Saturday morning. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 17 of 30. NASA's Artemis II mission, first crewed lunar flyby in 50+ years. NASA's Artemis II mission, first crewed lunar flyby in 50+ years. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Artemis II mission launched on November 16, 2024, or April 14, 2024 in some sources, corrected to November 16 based on context, carrying 4 astronauts, Reed Wiseman, Commander, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen, Canadian. The crew surpassed the Apollo 13 record for farthest humans from Earth at 252,757 miles, 406,772 kilometers on November 21, 2024, or April 21, 2024 in some sources, corrected to November 21 based on context, exceeding Apollo 13's 248,655 miles, 400,171 kilometers from 1970. The Orion spacecraft entered the Moon's lunar sphere of influence on November 19, 2024, or April 19, 2024 in some sources, corrected to November 19 based on context, where the Moon's gravity overtook Earth's pull, at approximately 39,000 miles, 62,800 kilometers from the Moon. The Artemis II crew conducted a 6-hour lunar flyby on November 21, 2024, or April 21, 2024 in some sources, corrected to November 21 based on context, capturing unprecedented views of the Moon's far side, including the Orientale Basin, the Grand Canyon of the Moon. The crew experienced a 40-minute communication blackout when passing behind the Moon, losing contact with Mission Control on November 21, 2024, or April 21, 2024 in some sources, corrected to November 21 based on context. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 10, Guardian, states the launch was scheduled for 6:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on April 14, 2024, while all other sources confirm the launch occurred on November 16, 2024. Article 10, Guardian, mentions the Artemis II crew will travel just short of 253,000 miles, 402,336 kilometers from Earth, while other sources confirm the maximum distance reached was 252,757 miles, 406,772 kilometers. Article 10, Guardian, states the splashdown is scheduled for April 10, 2024, while other sources confirm the splashdown is scheduled for November 25, 2024. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 18 of 30. Victoria Police investigation into Desi Freeman's 7-month manhunt and arrests of associates. Victoria Police investigation into Desi Freeman's 7-month manhunt and arrests of associates. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Desi Freeman fatally shot 2 police officers, Detective Leading Senior Constable Neil Thompson, 59, and Senior Constable Vadim de Wart-Hottet, 35, on August 26, 2025, during a search warrant execution in Paupunka, northeast Victoria. Freeman spent 7 months, 216 days, on the run, evading police in dense bushland near Mount Buffalo before being found in Tholagolong, over 150 kilometers from Paupunka, near the NSW border. Freeman was killed in a shootout on Monday, April 1, 2026, after emerging from a shipping container wrapped in a blanket and holding a stolen police firearm, a Smith & Wesson semi-automatic. Police used flashbang grenades, snipers, and Special Operations Group (SOG) officers to confront Freeman, who was shot more than 20 times during the standoff. 2 associates of Freeman, a man and a woman, were arrested at separate properties in northeast Victoria on April 4, 2026, around 7 a.m., as part of the ongoing investigation into his movements. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and SMH describe Freeman's gun as a Smith & Wesson semi-automatic taken from a slain officer, but Newscomm does not specify the make of the firearm. The ABC and SMH mention SOG officers remaining in position for over 24 hours before the raid, while Newscomm states they spent about 3 hours negotiating before the shootout. Theej reports the 2 associates were released without charge, whereas Newscomm, ABC, and Guardian only state they were arrested and will be interviewed. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 19 of 30. Arsenal's late win over Sporting CP in a Champions League group stage match. Arsenal's late win over Sporting CP in a Champions League group stage match. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Kai Havertz scored the winning goal in the first minute of injury time for Arsenal against Sporting CP. David Raya made multiple crucial saves, including a fingertip save against Maxi Araujo early in the game. Arsenal lost their last 2 matches before this game, Carabao Cup final versus Manchester City and FA Cup versus Southampton. Sporting CP were unbeaten in their last 23 league matches at the time of the game. The match was part of the Champions League group stage, with the second leg in North London scheduled for next week. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Arsenal's best chance of scoring came from set pieces, while Article 2 does not mention this detail. Article 1 mentions Arsenal's midfield partnership of Rice and Zubimendi was restored, but Article 2 does not elaborate on this. Article 1 details specific moments like Odegaard's free kick being tipped over the bar and Zubimendi's offside call, which are not repeated in Article 2. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 20 of 30. International diplomatic and military discussions to reopen the Strait of Hormuz amid Iran's blockade and global oil crisis. International diplomatic and military discussions to reopen the Strait of Hormuz amid Iran's blockade and global oil crisis. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong will represent Australia at a virtual meeting of 35 to 40 countries, led by the UK, to discuss reopening the Strait of Hormuz, excluding the US. The meeting was convened by UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper and includes participants from the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Japan, Canada, South Korea, New Zealand, UAE, and Nigeria. Iran has effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz to marine traffic since the US-Israeli strikes on Iran began on February 28, blocking 20–25% of global seaborne oil trade and causing fuel price spikes. Australia has deployed an E-7 Wedgetail surveillance aircraft with 85 crew to the UAE, contributing to Gulf defense efforts. The UK and other countries have signed a joint statement condemning Iran's weaponization of the Strait of Hormuz and committing to collective action for safe passage. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1, ABC, states the meeting includes 35 countries, while Article 2, ABC, and Article 4, Newscomm, report 40+ countries participated. Article 1, ABC, says Australia's E-7 Wedgetail is already contributing in the region, while Article 6, Newscomm, implies Australia is keeping an open mind about further asset contributions without ruling it out. Article 2, ABC, claims UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper said Iran is holding the world's economy hostage, but no other source directly quotes this phrasing verbatim. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 21 of 30. US government shutdown over DHS funding dispute and immigration enforcement. US government shutdown over DHS funding dispute and immigration enforcement. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, has been without full funding since mid-February 2024, marking the longest partial shutdown in U.S. history. The Senate passed a funding bill for most DHS operations, excluding ICE and parts of CBP, unanimously on the 20th of February, 2024, but the House rejected it. House Republicans initially proposed a 60-day DHS funding bill, including ICE CBP, that Senate Democrats vowed to block via filibuster. Transportation Security Administration, TSA, employees faced weeks without pay, causing airport security lines to stretch for hours before Trump signed an executive order on the 22nd of February, 2024 to backpay them. Republican leaders Mike Johnson, House Speaker, and John Thune, Senate Majority Leader, agreed on the 28th of February, 2024 to advance the Senate's DHS funding bill, excluding ICE CBP, after initially opposing it. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Democrats held up the DHS appropriations bill in January 2024 after 2 U.S. citizen deaths in Minneapolis, while Article 2 does not mention this specific trigger for the shutdown. Article 1 claims Senate Democrats unanimously passed the DHS funding bill, excluding ICE CBP, last week, implied 19 to 26 February, but Article 2 specifies it was passed on the 20th of February, 2024. Article 1 reports Republicans plan to use reconciliation to fund ICE CBP for the balance of the Trump administration, while Article 2 does not specify an end date for the reconciliation funding. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 22 of 30. Sam Kerr's potential transfer from Chelsea FC to Denver Summit in the NWSL. Sam Kerr's potential transfer from Chelsea FC to Denver Summit in the NWSL. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Sam Kerr, 32, has been linked to a move from Chelsea FC to the NWSL's Denver Summit after 6 seasons with Chelsea. Network 10 reported Kerr has signed with Denver Summit, an expansion club based in Colorado. Kerr's contract with Chelsea expires at the end of the 2023-24 Women's Super League season. Kerr scored 110 goals in 153 appearances for Chelsea since joining in 2019. Kerr captained Australia's Matildas to the 2024 Women's Asian Cup final. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states Chelsea's Champions League quarter-final loss to Arsenal was 1-0 in the second leg, while The Guardian does not specify the score beyond aggregate. ABC emphasizes Kerr's goal assist in the second leg, but The Guardian omits this detail entirely. The Guardian implies Kerr's reduced role at Chelsea is due to little talk of a new deal, while ABC focuses on her injury recovery and bombasters coaching. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 23 of 30. Fuel price surge impacts Australian tourism over Easter long weekend. Fuel price surge impacts Australian tourism over Easter long weekend. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Southern Queensland tourism operators report booking cancellations due to rising fuel prices, with some losing thousands in revenue. ABC Article 1. Paradise Resort, Noosa Quad Bike Tours, Drop Bear Adventures. ABC Article 2. National Zoo and Aquarium, Jamala Wildlife Lodge. Fuel prices on K'gari, Fraser Island, reached $4.25 per litre, the highest in Queensland and among the priciest in Australia. ABC Article 1. The federal government announced a cut to the fuel excise to help curb rising fuel costs. ABC Article 1 and ABC Article 2. Tourism businesses in regional areas like K'gari and the Sunshine Coast report significant booking declines, with some citing cancellations exceeding $10,000. ABC Article 1. Drop Bear Adventures. ABC Article 2. National Zoo and Aquarium. RACQ Principal Economic Expert Dr. Ian Jeffries stated fuel availability is not an issue and contracts to bring fuel into the country are being honored. ABC Article 1. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC Article 1 states that Easter bookings at Paradise Resort are around 10% lower than average, while ABC Article 2 does not mention Paradise Resort's bookings specifically but focuses on other businesses with mixed results. ABC Article 1 reports that fuel prices on Gari reached $4.25 per litre, the highest in Queensland, but ABC Article 2 does not provide a specific price comparison for Gari. ABC Article 1 highlights that some tourism businesses, e.g., Paradise Resort, Noosa Quad Bike Tours, are experiencing significant booking declines, while ABC Article 2 emphasizes that many businesses saw record or near-record visitation, e.g., Swinging Bridge, Table Cape Tulip Barn. This story was covered by ABC News. Story 24 of 30. UK government bans Kanye West from wireless festival over anti-Semitism. UK government bans Kanye West from wireless festival over anti-Semitism. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Kanye West, Ye, was booked to headline Wireless Festival in London's Finsbury Park from July 10 to 12, 2025, performing across 3 nights. West released a song titled Heil Hitler in 2024 and previously advertised a swastika t-shirt on his website. Pepsi, Diageo, and PayPal withdrew sponsorship of Wireless Festival after West's booking was announced. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called West's appearance at Wireless deeply concerning due to his anti-Semitic remarks and Nazi admiration. The UK Home Office blocked West's Electronic Travel Authorisation, ETA, on June 2025, citing his presence would not be conducive to the public good. But not all outlets told the same story. Guardian Article 2 claims Pepsi signed off on Ye as headliner, but Pepsi publicly withdrew sponsorship without explicit approval, ABC Guardian 5. Guardian Article 2's Melvin Benn argues West's mental health excuses his actions, while Health Secretary Wes Streeting calls it absurd and appalling, Guardian 2 vs Guardian 6. Guardian Article 1 states PayPal will not appear in future wireless materials, but ABC Article 5 does not mention PayPal's withdrawal, only Pepsi, Diageo, Rockstar. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 25 of 30. Teen surfer bitten by shark at Middleton Beach, South Australia. Teen surfer bitten by shark at Middleton Beach, South Australia. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Oliver Tokic-Bensley, 16, was bitten on the foot while surfing at Middleton Beach, South Australia, on Good Friday, April 19, 2024. The incident occurred around 4:30 p.m. local time, approximately 100 meters from shore. Oliver was alone on his surfboard when the shark grabbed his foot. He kicked it away and paddled back to shore nervously. Oliver's parents, Andrew and, sister's name unspecified, were holidaying in the area and rushed to check on him after his sister called them. Oliver was taken to Victor Harbour Hospital, where his wounds were cleaned, disinfected, x-rayed, and bandaged without stitches. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states Oliver paddled 70 to 100 meters back to shore, while Guardian says he paddled at speed and caught a wave to return, implying a shorter distance. News Kamau and ABC report Oliver did not need stitches, but Guardian does not mention stitches, only cleaning, disinfecting, x-raying, and bandaging. News Kamau and ABC describe Oliver's fear as a split-second moment of panic, while Guardian frames it as a quick reaction to flick the shark off and flee. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 26 of 30. Court rejects suppression order on Bondi gunmen's family identities. Court rejects suppression order on Bondi gunmen's family identities. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Naved Akram, 24, is charged with 59 offenses including 15 counts of murder and 1 count of committing a terrorist act allegedly inspired by ISIS. Akram's father, Sajid Akram, 50, was shot and killed by police at the Bondi Beach Hanukkah Festival attack on the 14th of December, 2023. Judge Hugh Donnelly denied Akram's 40-year suppression order request for his mother, brother, and sister's names and addresses on the 21st of March, 2024. Akram's driver's license, containing his address, was posted on social media within hours of the 14th of December attack. Media organisations including 9, News Corp Australia, ABC, and Guardian Australia opposed the suppression order. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states Akram's mother, brother, and sister had nothing to do with what occurred, but ABC and News Corp Australia do not explicitly state this in their articles. News Corp Australia mentions a bottle of yellow liquid, suspected urine, was thrown at the family's yard, while ABC and Guardian do not mention this specific incident. The Guardian notes Akram's brother or sister would not be witnesses, but ABC does not explicitly confirm this detail. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 27 of 30. 20-year-old man accused of plotting WA terror attack faces court proceedings. 20-year-old man accused of plotting WA terror attack faces court proceedings. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Jason Joseph Michaels, 20, is accused of plotting a mass casualty terror attack targeting Western Australia Police Headquarters, WA Parliament House, and mosques in Perth. Michaels allegedly wrote in a diary about planning a violent assault on the 13th of December, 2023, comparing it to the Bondi Beach mass shootings, the 14th of December, 2023, and stating what I want to do to both these groups pales in comparison to today. Police raided Michael's parents' home in Bindoon, north of Perth, in February 2024, seizing a locked diary with detailed plans, 2 guns, 900 rounds of ammunition, and various knives from his bedroom. Michaels allegedly researched entry points and door locks at target locations, considered using a van resembling an ambulance for escape, and accessed extremist white supremacist ideology online. Magistrate Belinda Coleman refused bail for Michaels, describing the diary as disturbing and chilling material with derogatory references to ethnic groups. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports Michaels allegedly wrote "What will they all think when my face is on TV?" while News.com.au reports he allegedly wrote "What will they all think when my case is on TV?" The Guardian states Michaels allegedly left a job after one day to access bomb-making materials, but News.com.au does not mention this specific detail. The Guardian describes Michael's lawyer Porter as saying the diary was a Walter Mitty-esque fantasy and all the hallmarks of a Marvel comic, while News.com.au does not include these exact phrases. This story was covered by The Guardian and news.com.au. Story 28 of 30. Impact of US-Iran conflict on global oil prices and Australian petrol costs. Impact of US-Iran conflict on global oil prices and Australian petrol costs. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Strait of Hormuz, a vital shipping corridor, has been effectively shut down by Iran since late February 2024, disrupting up to 1/5, 20%, of the world's oil shipments. Australian petrol prices surged over 30% since the conflict began on February 28, 2024, reaching record highs above $2.50 per litre, from $1.66 to $1.80 earlier in the year. Brent crude oil prices dropped 15% to below $91 per barrel on news of a US-Iran ceasefire agreement in early April 2024. Scott Wyatt, CEO of Viva Energy, warned that even if the Strait of Hormuz reopened immediately, it would take months for global energy markets to recover due to systemic supply chain disruptions. The Australian government allocated an extra $2.2 million to the NSW Fuel Check Service to monitor fuel prices, with daily app visits increasing 50-fold between January and late March 2024. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states that even a swift resolution to the conflict would fail to bring petrol prices back to pre-war ranges for some time, while Article 2 suggests petrol prices could start falling within the month if the ceasefire holds. Article 1 claims it would take years to fully repair damaged infrastructure and refill emergency fuel stockpiles, while Article 2 implies that while prices may not return to pre-war levels immediately, a significant drop could occur within weeks. Article 1 reports Scott Wyatt, Viva Energy, saying the recovery will have a long tail and it will take months for supplies to return, whereas Article 2 does not quote Wyatt but implies a faster rebalancing of the market in 3 weeks. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald. Story 29 of 30. Essendon AFL club's historic 17-match losing streak and coach Brad Scott's response. Essendon AFL club's historic 17-match losing streak and coach Brad Scott's response. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Essendon is on a 17-match losing streak in the AFL, dating back to May 2023, ABC. Article 1 mentions 16-match streak but clarifies it extends to 17 in Article 2. Essendon coach Brad Scott says the club began a rebuild 3 years ago, turning over 39 players in that time, ABC, Article 1. Essendon faces Melbourne Demons at Adelaide Oval on Saturday, ABC, Article 2. Essendon lost to Western Bulldogs 34 points on Sunday night, ABC, Article 2. Essendon's 17-match losing streak includes 13 consecutive losses from last season, ABC, Article 2. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Essendon is on a 16-match losing streak, while Article 2 clarifies it is a 17-match losing streak. Article 1 mentions Essendon's rebuild started 3 years ago with 39 players turned over, but does not explicitly state the exact number of players turned over in Article 2. Article 1 does not mention Essendon's 0-4 start, while Article 2 explicitly states Essendon lost the opening 4 matches of the season. This story was covered by ABC News. Story 30 of 30. Severe tropical cyclone Mela threatening far north Queensland after cyclone Narelle. Severe tropical cyclone Mela threatening far north Queensland after cyclone Narelle. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Severe tropical cyclone Mela is expected to make landfall in far north Queensland, likely around Cape York Peninsula, between Sunday and early next week, April 6 to 8th. Mela was located in the Solomon Sea on April 6, approximately 970 to 1,300 kilometers east of Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, with sustained winds of 130 to 150 km per hour and gusts up to 205 to 295 km per hour. Mela is currently a Category 3 to 4 storm, with potential to strengthen to Category 4 before landfall, though it may weaken as it approaches Australia. Cyclone Mela follows severe tropical cyclone Narelle, which made landfall in Cape York on March 20 as a Category 4 system and later impacted the Northern Territory and Western Australia. The Bureau of Meteorology, BOM, reports Mela is the 7th severe tropical cyclone to make landfall in Australia this season, November or April, with only 3 to 4 typically making landfall annually. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states Mela is expected to make landfall as a Category 5 storm, while ABC and News Corp Australia report it will likely be a Category 2 to 4 system at landfall. News Corp Australia claims Mela is the 11th named cyclone this season, but The Guardian and ABC state it is the 7th severe tropical cyclone to make landfall, not the 11th overall. The Guardian reports Mela will likely cross the coast between Lockhart River and Cairns, while ABC's Liam Smart suggests a landfall between Cooktown and the tip of Cape York. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au.